It's time to get your checking account to zero with free checking from PenFed. That's zero ATM fees, zero balance requirements, and zero time spent waiting for your paycheck to direct deposit because you can receive it up to 2 days early. Open your account with just $25 and see how big zero can be. Apply online today at PenFed.org/free checking. Early direct deposit eligibility may vary between pay periods and timing of payers' funding. To receive any advertised product, you must become a member of PenFed, insured by NCUA.
PenFed's got great rates for everyone.
What is up, everyone? I'm Jeff Lund, and this is the Mediocre Alaskan Podcast, talking with Harrison Gottschling, Fairbanks resident, who was on for episode 58 when we talked about the over-the-counter Dall sheep hunt that he went on. Back for more. We're going to talk about some gear. So how's it going, man?
It's going good. Spring is in full effect, and actually summer is now, and just 3 more weeks, then I'll have another kid. So stuff will start really slowing down after that.
What's the daylight up there right now?
Almost. I mean, I've been sitting at my bear stand a couple times overnight, and it gets like kind of dusky for a couple hours, and before you know it, it starts getting light again at like 3 in the morning. So I wear a sleep mask.
Yeah. So you have been getting out a little bit this spring with everything that's going on?
Yeah, I've set up my first bear bait this year and had some cool pictures come in on the trail cam, but I've never been able to see the bear while I've been out there. I went out and checked it last night and it had been hit, but need to schedule a time to get back out there. I got a really nice black bear, like over 6.5 foot black bear out there that stands about 6-8 inches above a 55-gallon drum standing up. So
nice. What do you use for bait?
Dog food, used cooking oil from a local restaurant, and I hung up a couple beavers at a couple different points to draw them in, and then a little bit of sweet stuff, just like marshmallows and syrup and Jello that I melt together to make like a really sweet thing, and then I pour it all over my barrel. And the bears seem to like that more than they do the dog food, which is a little bit disappointing because that's a little bit more expensive and you can't get like bulk marshmallows and stuff.
Yeah. Do you see many out-of-state people come up there to bear hunt? I know Southeast Alaska, we get a whole bunch in Unit 2 area. But do you get a lot of out-of-staters coming up there for black bears, or mostly grizzly brown?
I personally don't see any people who come and hunt black bears that are non-residents. I went last year with someone who came up from the States to hunt a black bears down in Valdez. But as for the interior, I don't hear many people at all coming and doing that unless it's like a family thing. But for all non-residents, it all seems like grizzlies are what the main attraction is for people.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like the Southeast Alaska and then the coastal areas where you can really sit on either the tidal flats for the early spring bear with the grass shoots and the mussels, or you're getting the salmon runs. So the interior one would be a different program for sure.
Yeah, it's a totally different ball game.
Yeah. So I want to talk to you about gear, and you mentioned game cams. What do you run for game cams? How did you come about getting those game cams? Are you an expensive game cam guy, cheap one? What do you do?
Well, it's actually my friend's. He got it from Walmart several years ago. It's Moultree, Moultree, and that takes really good quality pictures. And, you know, it does time-lapse, regular photos, all HD. I mean, you can't really go wrong. Where I bear bait, you can get cell signal out there. So I was thinking of, if I'm going to stick with that area next year, I might get a cell service one, which is like $400 or something. But that'll be something that I'll definitely have to go in with my partner on to try and split the cost, because that's a little bit too steep for me. I'm a bit of a cheap ass when it comes to stuff like that.
Well, that's the way to go. You know, for everyone who buys the most expensive thing, there's someone else who gets away with the cheapest. I bought 3 game cams that were on sale. You came with a chip, came with batteries, and they've been fine for me in my limited use. But you go online, you read the reviews, and people are saying it's the worst thing. It didn't work after the first time, or it didn't record, or it didn't do this. And well, it worked for me. But how much stake do you put in reviews for a product that you might be buying?
Online reviews, I kind of just glance at them just to see, oh, it's 4 out of 5 stars. Okay, it's pretty good. But if there's anyone that I can actually talk to in person who has it, or maybe even has that exact item so I could check it out, that's what I prefer to do.
Yeah. I think those reviews that you look at online reveal more about the reviewer than the actual product.
Absolutely, I agree.
One, I was looking at a new pair of like hiking shoes. So I have my hunting boots, and I got my Grundon's waterproof boots that are better than Extra Toughs. So I was looking at these Merrells online, and there were 2 1-star comments, and both of those people were upset and rated it as a 1 out of 5 because they got what was delivered was the wrong gender. They got female shoes, women's shoes, rather than men's shoes, which
that's not reflective of the product at all. So it's like that should be stricken out from the reviews in the first place.
Yeah. So and then you get I was reading, I think it was Sitka or Kuyu or one of those, and they were upset that the waterproof pants tore or ripped, and the guy wrote, I was sliding down a mountain and I hit a rock and the seat of my pants ripped. I'm thinking, well, yeah, man. Like, what do you want these things to do? It's waterproof. It's not rock on mountain proof. So it's hard for me to put a lot of I don't know, like trust in some of those reviews. And a lot of people just want the review to be shared by the business. And so they'll say, oh, just got these out of the box and they're awesome. They're so great. Well, that doesn't tell me if they're good or not. That tells me you're really excited that you bought them. And if you spent $300 on a pair of pants, you're just trying to validate the purchase. Yeah,
absolutely.
Do you have any encounters with some good or some bad reviews?
Say that again?
Do you have any encounters with some good or bad reviews that you looked up some reviews and they were good and what you got was different? Or vice versa, where the reviews weren't good, but you went through it because it was cheap and it was good?
Yeah, actually, I have a Kuyu jacket. It's the guide jacket. And if you look online, like it's got tons and tons of reviews everywhere. You talk to anyone about that kind of jacket, they just swear by it up and down. It's a great hunting jacket, blah, blah, blah. But after getting it, it was like my first piece of Kuyu equipment that I got, and I was really excited about it. And it's like a fantastic casual wear jacket, but as far as hunting, like it's not waterproof. It has a DWR resistance on it that wears off, in my opinion, really quickly. You can't hike in it because it's somewhat insulated and not breathable at all, and you'll just sweat to death. So, and it's not warm enough to sit down somewhere with and glass. So it's kind of like this middle of the road, horrible jacket for any kind of like active use. And so that's been my really big gripe, that where I read reviews on it and looked it up and tried to do my research and couldn't hear anything negative. But as soon as I got it, it's like, well, I can't use it for almost anything but to show other hunters around that, oh, look, I wear this brand. Yeah. There's a couple of jackets that I've gotten that have been like that because they fit really, really well if you buy the system. Yeah. It's like the mid jacket, and it works well if you have the brand stuff because it does fit together. But then, a large means a lot of different things. You might need the large girth, but not the large. You need like an XL length or vice versa. And so it's really tough to get the sizes. So I do review once in a while if I've worn it quite a bit. That way I can kind of give some people some real insight. So, but yeah, I've had a couple of purchases that, okay, this is gonna be a nice thing to wear around. It's a hiking jacket. These are hiking pants or something like that, or wear around the house thing, but it's not what I need for out in the woods. I've seen, or when you look at a lot of the gear checklists for down south, they say wear this, and you don't have to worry so much about. Even one guy was talking about wearing one pair of socks. You just bring one pair of socks, so you don't need the extra weight. Whereas in Alaska, that's totally different. So I think when we buy stuff, we have to take into account where we're going to be hunting and what exactly we need, and take some of those other recommendations with a grain of salt. What's something that you've been really happy with gear-wise? Really happy with gear-wise? Well, I really like my Black Diamond trekking pole that has a ice axe on the handle. It's called a whippet. That thing is awesome. It's really ergonomical on the handle, and say you're trying to climb something and you can just grab the end of it and then hook onto something with the ice axe part and bring it up. And so that's actually really nice. My backpack that I've been running has been the Kuiu Icon Pro 7200. It's a big ass backpack. Like the bag is just huge on it, and it doesn't really stuff down that well if it's pretty empty, but it carries really, really well. And yeah, I don't really have any kind of gripes with that. I mean, I carried a sheep out with it last year for 20 miles and performed great. So that's been my sturdy backbone piece of equipment, pun intended, I suppose.
What did you get before that? I had one of those Cabela's Alaska basic one compartment with two little compartments on the side, top load, real simple frame pack. And I went to a Stone Glacier just because I was able to try it on. But I don't think it really matters when you get to those elite, whether it's Barney's or Stone Glacier or Kafaru or whatever. Once you get to that level, they're pretty sweet. What did you run before you had the Kuiu one?
I went and bought a Alps Outdoors Commander external frame and pack. I bought it from Sportsman's on sale for like $100, and of course, I don't know what I was expecting for $100, but I mean, that was just like a horrible backpack. Like, it just didn't fit me right at all from the beginning. And, it was like my first experience in getting my feet wet trying to live out of my pack with 50, 60 pounds on and stuff for like a 7-day type of hunt. And it just totally sucked. It didn't fit right. Like, it was digging into my shoulders both times. The crossbar, I kept hitting the back of my head. It kept snagging on sticks when I was trying to walk by, and it was so loud. But as soon as that season was over, I put it up on Craigslist and sold it for like $50. I just wanted to get it out of my life.
After years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't one. Mint Mobile's secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. They cut out the cost of retail stores and pass those sweet savings directly to you. For anyone who hates their phone bill, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. I was hesitant about having to get a new phone and a new phone number, but with Mint, you can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone and your same phone number along with all of your existing contacts. Mint Mobile gives you the best rate whether you're buying for one or for a family, and at Mint, families start at 2 lines. All plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and to get the plans shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/waypoint. That is mintmobile.com/waypoint. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/waypoint.
Yeah. Are there any things that you've encountered gear-wise that you didn't know you needed or wanted until you knew it existed?
Trekking poles fit in that category like crazy. I swear by those things. Like, I use them. I use 2 of them for walking up and down, big hills with light or heavy loads. I mean, they're a fantastic tool for me for hiking. Let's see, what else? Definitely a quality headlamp. And a really good stove. Those are the piece of equipment that I really, really love.
What's your headlamp and what's your stove?
I have a Coast brand headlamp. I just get it from North Coast Electric here in Fairbanks, just like an electric supply store. They're like $30, but they're extremely bright, and the batteries last forever on them. And for the past couple of years, I've been running different variations of MSR stoves. I just like to bring a big-ass stove with the red bottle. Right now, I'm running the MSR Whisper Light, and that stove is pretty bomb-proof.
Yeah. Bomb-proof's a funny word. You hear that a lot with like fabric gear, which is pretty funny. I got the Stone Glacier pants, and they are great. I really, really like them. And people refer to them as bomb-proof. And so I wore them around first before I liked them. They fit well, and I wore them around a lot. Through the snow with, there's frozen snow, went through the brush, and it's pretty thick brush. And I gave it every opportunity to get snagged up and scuffed, but they were fine. They were perfect. So I thought, well, this might be an actual bomb-proof type scenario, of course, within the context of a fabric article of clothing. But are there certain terms that get thrown around kind of flippantly and that might not really be deserving of that, such as bomb-proof, or are there some terms that you don't like with people reviewing gear?
Waterproof and water resistant seem to be terms that, for some reason, for online reviewers, they're terms that people don't seem to grasp which one is which. Is it waterproof or water resistant? You know, if you choose one of those two different items, it could be a totally different type of deal. And yeah, when you're looking at really expensive individual articles of clothing for like a rain jacket or a rain pant or a water resistant pant or a water resistant jacket, I mean, you could buy one thing and expect the other and just get messed up on. But yeah, bomb proof is the only one that kind of irks me, where it doesn't make any sense. But
no, I use it too. That's the funny thing, because sometimes you just kind of just insert the word that is most used in this context, and so you use it like, well, I'm just going to use it because it's nice. The waterproof thing is definitely important, because there's a huge difference between a waterproof fabric and having a waterproof type coating. I had a buddy that came up and he said, "Oh yeah, this is waterproof," and it was just a golfing jacket. So it was waterproof in if it rains on you while you're walking, you know, from the 8th green to the 9th tee, right? And it's just like a little shower, short little thing. But if you are in the rain all day, is it going to keep you dry? And that's the waterproof that you're looking for. You're not looking for something that, you know, is cheap, you know, and even lightweight stuff. Some of that lightweight stuff, you're going to sacrifice some level of strength in that. Where are you at with lightweightedness? Are you more quality of fabric or lightweights, or where do you fall on that with your gear?
well, probably same with everyone. Every single season I'm trying to perfect my equipment setup, and of course it changes every year. It seems like I am not really that big on saving ounces type of thing, where it's, you know, I'm not going to buy a stove that will save me 6 ounces versus another stove. You know, I'm not going to spend that extra $75 to $100 to get that small shavings. Like for me, you know, for like, I'll just do a rain jacket, for instance. Like I got a Kuiu Yukon jacket that failed, and that, you know, is a very expensive jacket. It's like a $375 jacket. But I bought a Helly Hansen like rubber PVC jacket for like $80. And, you know, one might be heavier than the other, and one might breathe a little better than the other or whatever. But, you know, if it's going to rain, like I want to be dry, and that Helly Hansen is going to keep me dry, versus something that I spend almost $400 on and then have it fail over a season or get a nasty rip in it and whatever. But,
yeah. There are days where in Southeast here, a lot of people, when they go spring bear hunting, they're in waders. So you're not worried about, you know, waterproof pants. You want just fishing waders. You don't need camo stuff. You're going fishing waders. And then there are some days in the rut in October when it's just so rainy and so messy that you're wearing the Helly Hansen or the Grundon's bibs and then rain jacket. There's no camo. There's not enough. You're just going to be soaked. And you're going to go bibs. You're going to go full deadliest catch type garb out there, because it is going to be wet, cold, and miserable.
that's the way to do it.
Yeah, it works, right? It works. Back in the day, people did not have all this technology. But as far as that goes, do you think that there's been so many advancements with technology? Is that because we are becoming, you know, we want to buy these things, but we don't really need them? Or is it more difficult to hunt now because of pressure and population kind of dwindling? Where do you think the difficulty of hunting is compared to the past?
Well, I mean, it definitely is in both of those things that you mentioned, and the fact that, there's less game now compared to, like, say, when our fathers or grandfathers were. That is true in some certain areas, but not for whitetail, for instance. But like in Dall sheep wise, that is totally the case. But as far as like availability back then versus now, I mean, it's just technology has progressed, and I think if you get technology that becomes cheap enough for a factory to make and to put out, there's always, if you market it good enough, there's always going to be a demand for anything. I mean, I think that if a company is good enough at marketing like Kuiu or Sitka, they could sell water to fish.
Mm-hmm. As far as companies that you like to support, I think that's a good segue right there. Are there certain companies that, I don't want to badmouth anybody, if you give an honest feedback about a jacket that fails, people should know that, well, the jacket failed doesn't mean it's a bad company. But are there certain companies that you like to support because of how they treat the customers, or something different in how they function that makes you want to support them? Are some companies out there that you like?
Sure, yeah. There are several companies that I like. I mean, support, the only support that I can give a company is just with my dollars. And probably the company that I buy the most stuff from is probably REI. And one main reason for supporting a business or getting behind a business and buying their stuff, it has to do for me with warranties. Like if they have awesome warranties, like REI has like an almost unconditional 1-year warranty, I have some friends who just abuse the shit out of that. And they'll buy a tent, use it for a year, return it after 11 months, and then, get the next year's model or whatever. Same with sleeping bags or what have you. I mean, and even if your gear fails, that you can still do that. But,
yeah.
I mean, they sell so many different articles of clothing that are great and cheap and do exactly the same thing as like a Kuiu or a Sitka jacket, but it's just by another name, and it's not in that pretty camo color. But if, it seems to me that there's a lot of people who are almost steering away from the camo, that they're wanting to get more towards the solid colors anyway. So if you go buy you can buy a Kuiu pair of pants that are like the puffy pants. Those are like a couple $100, or you could get a Mountain Hardware set for less than $100 if you find them on sale. And they serve the exact same purpose and exact same amount of warmth and everything.
Yeah.
But then again, it's a couple ounces